Sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please chant the first and the last verse of the Dhyana Shlokas with me. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena grathitam purana munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita varshinim bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba tvam anusandadhami Bhagavad Gite bhavatveshinim Yam brahma varunendra rudra marutaha Stunvanti divyaistavaihi Vedai sanga padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti yam samagaha Dhyanavasthita tadgatena manasa Pashyanti yam yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So today we'll go to the next session of the fourth chapter. We are dealing with fourth chapter. And yesterday, what did I talk about? I talked about Bhai Bhagavan takes avatara. Bhai Bhagavan or God takes avatara and comes. When does he come? When it is necessary to re-establish dharma, when adharma becomes very strong and the cosmic health or the health of the world, which is called as dharma, is not able to repair itself. Then what happens? Bhagavan has to come in the form of avatara. And what happened now at the end of Dwapara Yuga? Adharma became so much. By who? By the Kauravas or the sons of Dhritarashtra. Whereas Pandavas were very few people who were following dharma. Therefore, Bhagavan had to come, support the Pandavas, destroy all the adharmic people, those who were doing adharma, like Duryodhana and his brothers, Karna, etc. He even destroyed those who were supporting adharma. Though Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya were good people, but they were siding or supporting adharma. Therefore, Lord Krishna had no other choice. He had no other option. He had to destroy them also in the war. We will see later in the 11th chapter. Bhai Bhagwan says Bhai he had to destroy them. That he will tell later. Okay. Now, we have to understand, go to the next session there. The name of this chapter, the central theme or what is the summary of this chapter, it is called as Jnana Yoga. The fourth chapter is called Jnana Yoga. Why is it called Jnana Yoga? Because here Lord Krishna gives the very important knowledge of Atma Jnana. I told you in the second chapter itself, Bhagwan talked about, introduced Atma Jnana from the 12th verse to the 25th verse. What is the meaning of Atma Jnana? Atma Jnana means the knowledge of who really I am. That is called as Atma Jnana. At the same time, who is really Bhagavan? What is Bhagavan's nature? Is the body of Krishna really Bhagavan? Or what is the reality of even Bhagavan? Knowing this, who am I? Who is Bhagavan? What is my real nature? Am I his body as I see? Or am I something more than something different from this body? Is Bhagavan like what we visualize him with forearm, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Hasta, Padma, all this? Is Bhagavan only that? Or is Bhagavan's nature something else other than his body? So all this Lord Krishna talks about to Arjuna and to all of us in the form of Atma Jnana. Jnana means knowledge. Atma means the self. The knowledge of the self means what? The knowledge of I or me. I call myself what? I say I. I say me. So who is this me? Who is this I? That is what is called as the knowledge about that is called as Atmajnana. Now, very, very simply, I want to tell you with an example. And I'll start with this example. Now, in your house, you have different bulbs of different candle lights, correct? In different rooms. In your study room, you have a bright bulb, correct? But in front of your God's altar, in your Devarmane, in your God's, wherever you keep your God, then you have a small tiny bulb which is just flickering like this, correct? Huh? And in the room where you sleep, you have a little bit duller bulb, correct? When you want to study, what do? You put on maybe sometimes a bright light, bright bulb you switch on, or you switch on 2 or 3 bulbs also sometimes when you have to study, correct? Then you have a fan. In every room, you have a fan in the house, correct? So whenever you need, whichever room you go, when it is very hot, you switch on and the fan starts coming, rotating, correct? The fan rotates like this and then gives you air, right? Then in your bathroom, you have got a geyser or a boiler from which you get hot water to take your bath. Then in your kitchen, what do you have? You have electric heater, maybe you may be having a microwave oven. There also you switch on the switch and then it starts working. Then when you go to school, you have to iron your clothes, correct? So what does your amma do? She takes your clothes to one small table there, she puts or on the bed and she switches on the iron and she irons your clothes, correct? Now what are we seeing here? There are different gadgets, correct? Different gadgets. There are bulbs from which we get light. There is fan, which is what we call as the mechanically it is rotating. So it is that mechanically it is giving us what? By rotating it is giving us air, correct? Then by heat we are getting geyser, we are having the iron working. In the kitchen also we are having the hot plate working. Then we have again your mixer, grinder, which turns round, it makes sound and then it does all your work of grinding, correct? So what are we seeing now? There are different gadgets, correct? But what is the electricity? Is the electricity different in each gadget? No, it is one electricity. It is one source, one wire, one electric source comes to your house and that is divided into so many gadgets, connecting so many gadgets, correct? So what you see here, there is one electricity in your house and that electricity goes to the bulb, it lights up the bulb in the form of light. The same electricity rotates the fan. The same electricity heats your water for bath. The same electricity becomes heat in the iron and irons your clothes. The same electricity turns the mixer and prepares your food. Correct? You understand this? Therefore, like that, what is said is that light looks different, correct? When you look at the bulb, before the bulb is switched on, it is simply one device, correct? It is only one bulb. You don't see anything in the bulb when you see like this. But then, when you switch on the light, then suddenly the bulb becomes bright and you can do all your activities. Isn't it? You agree with me with this? So now, what it is said is, like electricity, there is something which is live in us. And that one electricity like, power which empowers our body. Not only my body. It says that it is the same electricity source which comes to your neighbor's house also, correct? It is one electricity, comes from different wires, it comes into your house, it comes into the next person's house. Oh, I forgot the TV. TV also it works, isn't it, with electricity? Most important, correct? So, there is one source of electricity. Somewhere the electricity is produced. But then that one source, one electricity comes and lights up the whole city. Correct? And it lights up all the gadgets in all the homes. You understand that? Therefore, what Krishna says is, the body is like a bulb. Okay? And by itself, the bulb cannot function. Right? The bulb needs something else behind it to make it work. What is that? It is electricity. Like that, this body also cannot function by itself. This mind cannot function by itself. All our sense organs like eyes and ears and our skin, they can't function by themselves. Our hands cannot move by themselves. Our legs cannot move by themselves. We cannot speak by ourselves itself. By the mouth cannot speak by itself. What do all these things need? They need something, which lights up all these things, which make them function in different ways. The body functions in a different way. Correct? The hand functions in a different way. The leg functions in a different way. The speaking tongue functions in a different way. The eating tongue functions in a different way. Correct? When I see, my eyes are functioning in a different way. Same thing, my ears are hearing. Can you hear with your eyes? No. Can you see with your ears? No. Correct? Can you taste with your skin? No. Can you smell with your ears? No. Correct? The nose smells, the eyes see, the ears hear. Okay? The tongue speaks, the tongue tastes, hands move, legs move, the mind thinks, the buddhi works. When you are solving a problem, your buddhi works. All these are like the gadgets. We are like a house of gadgets. Okay? And one source of electricity makes all the objects work in a different manner, the way they are programmed. A bulb is programmed to give light only. A TV is programmed to give you audio-visual inputs only. An iron is programmed to only give heat. A grinder mixer is programmed only to turn and cook your food. Correct? Like that, all our sense organs, all the parts of our body, they are created by God in such a way that they all have different functions. But what is that one thing which makes this whole group of all these multiple things function? It is what is called as Atma or consciousness. That's what he says, Atma. Now, what is this electricity? Is the electricity a part of the bulb? No, it is not a part of the bulb. Correct? Is electricity a product of the bulb? The electricity is coming out of bulb? No. Correct? It is not a part of the bulb. It is not a product of the bulb. Then is electricity a property of the bulb? No, it is not a property. If it is its property, then bulb should be on all the time. Correct? It is not its property. So what is electricity? Electricity is not a part, not a product, not a property of any of the gadgets. Electricity is independent of all the gadgets. Correct? Independent of all the objects. Whether the gadgets are there or not, electricity is there. So what is a gadget? It is only reflecting the electricity in its own way. We call it what? We call it a reflecting medium, like a mirror. What is a mirror? It is reflecting medium. It's a reflecting surface. It is a surface which reflects whatever comes in front of it. Like that, the bulb also is a reflecting surface which reflects electricity in the form of light. The TV is a reflecting surface which reflects electricity in the form of pictures and sound. Okay? The iron is also a reflecting surface which reflects the electricity in the form of heat. So, every gadget by itself, it cannot do anything. If you simply keep a bulb, even if you put the bulb into the holder, will it work? It will not work. Will any of your electric gadgets work? No, unless it is backed by electricity. Correct? So electricity is independent. But can we see electricity? We cannot see electricity, isn't it? Then how do we infer, how do we understand that there is electricity? By switching on the light, correct? Otherwise, what is behind the bulb? We don't know. We cannot see it. Can we see it? No. Can we touch it? No. By chance you try to touch without the bulb, you try to put your hand in the holder and put on the light, you will get what? Instant moksha you will get. Okay? So, that is why what is said is electricity cannot be seen. Correct? Electricity cannot be touched directly. You will see the effect of it, but you cannot see it. But how do you know it is there? When it is reflected in one of the gadgets, you know that there is electricity. Correct? So, supposing your mother says, hey, this mixer is not working. Is electricity there or not? Then what do? You switch on the light and say, Amma, electricity there. Something is wrong with the mixer. Correct? That means even if one gadget goes out of order, if one gadget does not work, does it mean the electricity is not there? The electricity is there, but in that gadget, it is not available because the gadget itself is not all right. The reflecting medium, something has gone wrong. The reflecting surface, something has gone wrong. So what did we learn till now? We learned that there are different gadgets of different shapes, different sizes, different functions. Number 2, they cannot function by themselves. Number 3, they need something called as electricity through which we can see that electricity is working. Every gadget works in the way it is programmed only because of the electricity. Electricity is not a part of any gadget. Electricity is not a product of any gadget. Electricity is not a property of any gadget. Electricity is independent, whether the gadget is there or not. Even if you switch off all your gadgets, their electricity is still coming to your house. But then, because the reflecting surfaces are not switched on, the electricity cannot manifest itself. Then how do we know electricity is there? We don't see it. We don't experience it. How do we know? It is only by its reflection in one of the gadgets. When the gadgets work, we understand, oh, electricity there. That's why this gadget is working. And lastly, the same electricity comes to all the houses, to all the towns from a particular source. We call it a grid, correct? You have heard of the grid, electricity grid. So many megawatts of current is produced. So one grid will give lot of this electricity to sometimes all the South Indian states also. To different states, one electricity, millions of gadgets. One source of electricity, millions of reflecting surfaces. Correct? So, what Krishna tells about us then? Krishna says that we all are what? Like gadgets. Because each one of us has different height, different shapes. Some of us are thin, some of us are fat, some of us are short, some of us are tall. Correct? And then all of us have different parts in the body, different parts of the body, like all our sense organs, our mind, okay, and all our, hands and legs and eyes and whatever it is. We have all those things, correct? So what Krishna says is, The entire body of you, Arjuna, of all of us, is like a group of gadgets, different parts doing different works. But what is it that is common, which is making this body alive and makes it function? It is not electricity, it is called Atma. Okay, I gave an example of electricity. That is called as Atma. So, what is Atma? Atma will apply the same principles of electricity to Atma. What is Atma? Atma cannot be seen. Atma cannot be touched. But then Atma is there. How do you infer that Atma is there? Because of the Atma, all our organs are functioning like gadgets. And Krishna says, like electricity, Atma is not a part of the body. Understood? Like electricity, same principles will apply here. So Atma is not a part of the body. It is not a property of the body. It is not a product of the body, like electricity. You are understanding, children, what I am telling? Huh? So, it is not a part of the body. It is not a product of the body. It is not a property of the body. Then what is Atma? It is an independent principle, like electricity is independent, correct? It does not depend whether 10 gadgets are there or million gadgets are there. Fine. So what is this Atma? It is one Atma. It is one Chaitanya, we call it. It is one life principle, because of which my entire body is functioning. And this Atma, like electricity, cannot be seen. We can understand that it is Atma because of it, our bodies are functioning. So what is our body? It is a reflecting surface of Atma. The body is what? A reflecting surface of Atma. What is the mind? It is a reflecting surface for Atma. What are our eyes? Reflecting surface for Atma. What are our ears? Reflecting surface for Atma. What is our sense of smell in our nose? Reflecting surface of Atma. What are our hands and feet? Reflecting surfaces of Atma. Therefore, this Atma, we call it Chaitanya, we call it also consciousness. Don't worry, you will just know it by the name Atma. So, Atma functions through all these reflecting surfaces. But it is not a part of any reflecting surface. Like electricity is not a part of bulb. It is not a property of any reflecting surface. It is not a result or product of any reflecting surface. One more thing, Krishna says, like one electricity source is lighting up all the millions of objects in and around my house, maybe in my entire state, maybe in all the 4 South Indian states, coming from one source, correct? Similarly, Krishna says, Atma is one consciousness, one source. All the bodies are enlivened. All the bodies, all the jivas. How many of us are there? 84 lakhs varieties of living beings are there. It is one source, which is Atma, which is functioning through all the body minds. Okay? Through every body, all the 84 lakhs jivas that are there are having the same source, Atma. And supposing the body dies, does the Atma die? No. Why? If the electric bulb fuses, will electricity also go? No. The reflecting medium or reflecting surface is dead. So, the electricity does not manifest itself. Similarly, if this body dies, it does not mean that the Atma is there. The reflecting surface called as this body is gone. Other reflecting surfaces are there. Out of 84 lakhs of types of bodies, every day, even imagine, 1 lakh bodies are dying or 10 lakh bodies are dying. Still then there are so many left, isn't it? To manifest, to reflect this Atma. And just like the electricity is always there, it does not, of course, in our states, they will switch off. That's why it goes. By itself, it does not go. The electricity department will cut the electricity. Otherwise, if there is no cutting, then it is continuously there, constantly there, does not go up and down. It is constantly there. Similarly, Bhagavan says that this Atma is also always there. So what did he say in the second chapter? The Atma is not born, na jayate. He said the Atma is not going to die also. At the same time, this Atma will not change. It is unchanging. It is constant principle that makes all the bodies of all the jivas function. And where is this Atma found? Lord Krishna says it is found inside every body of all the living beings. Like the electricity is found inside somewhere behind all the gadgets. Supposing you look at the gadgets, where is the electricity here? You cannot say no. It is coming from somewhere. It is behind the gadget. Correct? Because electricity is not a part of the gadget. It is not a property of the gadget. It's not a, it is not even a product of the gadget. Therefore, like that, Atma also is that which is behind all the 84 lakhs types of jivas. And within every jiva, jiva means what? Living being. Inside the heart, here inside us. And it is this Atma which functions, makes us function. Therefore, understanding that this Atma, like the electricity, is the real me. In any gadget, the real thing is what? The electricity. The way it functions may be different, depending on how the manufacturer has manufactured it. One is meant to rotate, one is meant to grind, one is meant to heat. It is how the gadget is programmed or built. But the electricity does not change. Similarly, Atma is that principle, life-giving principle, which is flowing through all the bodies of the 84 lakhs of individuals, and it is independent by itself. If one body dies, it doesn't mean electricity has gone. The reflecting medium goes, but the body dies. The electricity like Atma. Now don't say Atma is electricity. It is only an example. I'm only giving an example. So Atma doesn't die. Atma is not born. Atma doesn't die. It is the body which is born. It is the body which dies. It is the body which changes and grows. This understanding, and the same thing as far as God is concerned also. Behind our Shiva, behind our Ganapati, what we see in God as the face of the God or the body of the God, you see, correct? So Krishna says, even behind me, this body of Krishna is like any other gadget. But this Krishna Sharira also is alive. It is Atma which is keeping this Krishna Sharira, Rama Sharira, Ganapati Sharira, everything alive. Therefore, Krishna says that, who are you, Arjuna? Your real nature is Atma. The body is incidental. Similarly, Krishna says, my Krishna Vesha is incidental. Who am I in reality? I am Atma. So Bhagavan says, God also is Atma. All the living beings are also Atma. This is what is called as the Atma Jnanam. And the person who understands this clearly, we saw in the second chapter, what is he called? He is called as Sthita Prajna. You heard that, correct? Who is a Sthita Prajna? The one who has understood very clearly what Bhagavan Krishna has been telling. And how does this Sthita Prajna see the whole thing? Lord Krishna says in the 4th chapter itself, he says that whatever this Sthita Prajna does becomes a great thing. Whatever this Sthita Prajna does is a worship. It is a sacred thing because he has understood. He has understood this knowledge. And who is giving this knowledge? Bhagavan Krishna is giving this knowledge. So the one who has understood this knowledge. What is knowledge? Jnana means what? Knowledge. Atma means what? That whatever is there behind this body which makes my body function. Atma Jnana means what? The knowledge of that principle which is that reality behind this body. Understood? Knowing this, understanding this, correct Rajdatta, understanding this here properly, it is called as understanding of this knowledge. A person becomes a jnani. Who is a jnani? The one who knows. The one who has this jnanam is called as a jnani or Sthita Prajna. And whatever he does is sacred. Whatever he does, it is like God doing something. So here, there's only one verse here which I'm going to take in this session today. And all of you are aware of that verse because before you eat your food, you will chant that in your hostel, brahmārpaṇaṁ. Do you chant that? Brahmārpaṇaṁ, brahma-havir. Before you eat? No? So now when I chant this, this is what is meant by a person who has understood this Atma Jnanam. So when you are eating, you say brahmārpaṇaṁ bhai. The eater is who? The Atma. What is eaten food? That is also God, Atma. Who's going to digest this food inside? That is also Atma. Who's tasting the food? That is also Atma. Okay? And where does this food go? That also goes to Atma. So, if a simple eating becomes so sacred and worshipful, whenever anything sacred, what do we call it? We call it yajna. Correct? So, Bhagavan Krishna says that whatever a Sthita Prajna does, it becomes a yajna. We already saw in the 3rd chapter how we live our lives as a yajna. But here, yajna also means anything which is a sacred activity is also called as yajna. So, here Bhagavan says, brahmārpaṇaṁ brahma-havir, brahmagnau brahmaṇā hutam, brahmaiva tena gantavyaṁ, brahma-karma-samādhinā. This talks about the actions of a wise man who has understood this teaching of Lord Krishna. And 4th chapter, the entire central theme of the 4th chapter is this Atma Jnana. And however much we try to avoid, we cannot avoid in Bhagavad Gita because this is the central theme. Correct? That is why to make you young children understand, to make it as simple as possible, I have taken only one verse, which means that the person who has understood this knowledge, he is like God only. He is God only. Whatever he does is like whatever God is. Whatever is the action done, it is the action done by the God. Whatever action it is done for God. And Brahman is also another name for God. Okay, what is Brahma? God. We can call God by various names. We can call God as Ishvara. We can call God as Atma. We call God as Brahma, Brahman. So he says, this person, who is this person? Sthita Prajna, Whatever he does, it is offered to that Atma. He himself is the Atma, and whatever the result of whatever he is doing is nothing but God or Atma itself. Therefore, who am I, children? Who are all of us? We are the Atma behind the body. The body is necessary. It is given by God to us. But really speaking, what is making this whole body function and all the bodies in this entire universe function is one Atma, one consciousness, one God, one Ishvara, one Brahman, one source, many gadgets, one source, many reflecting surfaces. So, Atma is one and only. It gets reflected in God also. The same thing gets reflected in God Sharira also. The same thing gets reflected in man Sharira also. The same Atma gets reflected in animal Sharira also. The same Brahman, God, gets reflected in one small bacterial body also. It is the same Atma which gets reflected in a virus also. Okay, everything, the whole universe is nothing but sustained by what? Atma, God, Brahman. All these are the names. So whenever henceforth we say Ishvara, whenever we say God, whenever we say Atma, whenever we say Brahman, it all means the same. It all means the same. This is the knowledge that Krishna is going to give Arjuna throughout Bhagavad Gita. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, this is what is given, but in different ways, in different forms, in different explanation. Why? Because it is very, very sukshma, subtle topic. Correct? When your teachers are trying to explain some very, very difficult mathematical problem to you, they will try to explain it from different angles, no? Because it is difficult to understand. It is tough to understand. Atmajnanam also is tough to understand for all of us. But if this much you remember what Krishna talked about, that is what is going to be talked about in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So what is this fourth chapter about? I am Atma. Incidentally, I have a body. In reality, my reality, who I am Atma Swarupa. The body is there, yes, but I am not the body. I am this Atma. Like electricity can say, no, I am not the bulb, I am electricity. I am not the TV, I am electricity. Like that, I can say Atma, I am not the body. I manifest, I reflect through the body. I am not the mind, but my mind thinks because of Atma. My buddhi functions because of Atma. Because of me, the Atma makes this buddhi function. I, the Atma, makes this mind think. I, the Atma, makes this ears hear. I, the Atma, makes this me breathe. I, the Atma, makes this tongue to speak and to taste the food. Okay, so who am I? I am the Atma, but I am manifesting through different parts of the body, and I, the same Atma, is manifesting through different bodies, 84 lakhs of living beings at a given time. Now, so we have completed, we have seen a bird's eye view of what is Atmajnana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.